The Android boot process is fairly simple and incorporates some security mechanisms. First, device launches the bootloader. Think of this as the computer BIOS, which initializes hardware and also determines the boot mode, normal or recovery. Recovery mode is essentially a very limited OS environment that allows performing essential maintenance such as installing OS updates or wiping the device clean. Let's put the recovery aside for a later demo and look at the normal boot shown here. During normal boot, Android boots the OS from a dedicated system partition, which is actually a read-only and is also checked for integrity in a number of ways. It loads the Linux kernel and launches an initialization script called init.rc that does the rest of the work. That is, it mounts file systems, loads drivers, etc. The init script launches and initializes Android runtime. Everything beyond this point is happening in Java world. Android runtime does some preparations and then starts launching all the Java-based system services and managers. This is when you see the boot animation. Finally, a message is broadcast across the OS that the boot is complete, which triggers the auto run of user-installed applications, which must explicitly request permission to run at startup. So, how do you do a normal boot? There are two options, and we'll do both of them now. The first and easiest is the so-called soft reboot or warm boot. This is done when a user experiences applications that simply stop working correctly, and this soft reboot should get things going again. Soft reboot is available from the Power menu. So if you push it and hold, you'll see the Power menu displayed. This is a software function, so it will not work if the device is frozen. Alright, so let's go ahead and hit the reboot button. Your phone will reboot. Yep, that's what we're trying to do, so let's go ahead and let this thing reboot. Okay, I just wanted to wait until it got to that point. Let me just explain real quickly what you're seeing here on the screen. This is my remote control so that you can see my screen that's going on right now. It's just got a zebra logo on it while it's trying to reboot, but my remote control can't connect to a device that's not booted. So as soon as it does indeed boot, then we'll see it come up here again. I'm going to splice time until that happens. I'll be back when it starts to happen. So there you have it. It is now booted back up and it's at the lock screen. Alright, so I think that's enough on this. All you do is, of course, just hit that power button and then tell it you want it to reboot. And as long as your device is not frozen, can respond to software commands, it'll reboot and you'll be back in business with everything functioning. Okay, so what's next then? Well, it's a little bit different story when the device is frozen, because obviously it's not going to respond to those soft commands. So that's where you do a hard reboot, also known as a cold boot. This is a hardware function. It doesn't require the device to be executing and responding to software commands. This is tied directly to the power management chip on the device. To activate the hard reboot, you must use a device-specific key combination, and that specific key combination is always specified in the user guide. The key combination is simultaneously press and hold the following buttons for at least 4 seconds. Power, PTT, and volume up. Let's do the hard boot now. So you're not going to see much of anything because I have to do this physically in my hand. So I'm going to press and hold the power button, the PTT button, and the volume up button simultaneously for about 4 seconds. So there you see it. It immediately dropped my connection because now it's starting the boot process. So again, you're seeing it's an artificial thing here in my remote control software, but on the device you would have seen that the screen went blank and it then threw up the zebra logo, and now it's rebooting just like it was before. So all we did here was get around the fact that the device was frozen and I couldn't bring up the power menu so that I could select the reboot option. So in a few moments this should start to boot up, or it should finish its boot up I should say, and we'll just hang in here until it shows up. So there it is, it's back in business and we're at the lock screen. Alright, that concludes this short demo on how to boot and reboot your device in either a software responsive way or a physical hard boot process.